Actually, I did forget one last part. Papa Joe went to go visit Aunt Peggy, and she tried to pull a gun on him. Well, she did pull a gun on him while she was burning a picture of him with, I'm assuming, the mama. Maybe it was her. I don't even know at this point. But it's clear that they know each other, and it's clear that Aunt Peggy know more than what Aunt Peggy been saying. Anyway, that's it. That's all. Bye. What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is my review for American. Lord, I had another show on my mind. For Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 2. So listen, let me just go ahead and say this before I just launch on into this review head first. I'm going to have to just go into this show with a Tyler Perry mindset. Okay, I know that this is a Lee Daniels show, but I'm going to have a Tyler Perry mindset because... Listen, it was 3 seasons worth of episodes in this one episode. It was too much. And it really does the story a disservice because the story is actually very juicy and very salacious. But because they have put this thing on the speed track, like they have a time limit that they got to get this story out by, it's taking away so much. And we're not even going to get into the stuff that just would never happen. So let's start at the beginning. We start off with them at church. Now, first of all, I knew we was in trouble when John Gray was the church pastor. I said, where they find him? Ain't nobody heard from John Gray since he got evicted from his church, okay? But John Gray, I mean, I guess playing an imaginary pastor is just good, I guess. I don't know. But he is preaching. Now, in this small little church, everybody there, okay? Angela's there with her auntie and her daughter. We got Leah, whatever the woman name is. She there with her family. We even got Lance Gross there with, listen. And they was cutting up into the church, okay? They was cutting up in church. So after church is over, you know, Lance rose up on her and said, listen, I ain't had that much fun in church in a long time. And Angela was like, well, you know, the spirit moved me, you know. Because they was cutting up. They was making eyes at each other and sucking their teeth and rolling their eyes. And they was just doing a lot at the church, okay? So then we see where Leah, listen, we're going to call her Leah over here. If her name is Leah, then it's going to be Leah. We see where her mama-in-law is still telling her, girl, you need to get her out of town. She ain't no good. She don't mean you no good. She don't mean, she is trouble, okay? Get her out of here as soon as possible. So then we see Angela rolling up on Leah just as she's talking to her girlfriends about the fact that she's going to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, honey, because she is now the new CEO of the company. And Angela is like, listen, I feel like we got off to a bad start. Maybe we can, you know, start over. And Leah is like, girl, no, that's not going to happen. I don't like you, you don't like me, and that's how it's just going to have to be, okay? It is what it is, honey. So, I mean, then, Leah starts going to this whole story about you're a social climber. We've seen people like you before. Y'all come to the island for summer vacation, but we here all year round holding it down because we are Black excellence. I was like, okay. So then we see her with Morris Chestnut with her husband, and she's telling him about Forbes magazine and everything like that. And she says, listen, I got a confession to make. My daddy didn't just retire. I forced him out of the company. And there was a look that Morris Chestnut had on his face. There was a look on his face that, again, that same look he had last week that kind of let you know that something wasn't right. Now, somewhere in this episode, because so much was happening, and I don't remember if it was this scene or later on, we find out that somewhere along the line, Teddy Franklin then swallowed up Morris Chestnut's family's company, and he wants his company back, right? We see him later on in the episode talking to a white guy who I'm going to assume, from the way they were talking, they've known each other their whole life. They grew up on the island together. And he says something about, it's your reason, you know, you're the reason why we're in this. You take everything for a joke. You don't take anything seriously. You messed up. You got to fix it. You know, you've always been able to get away with stuff. But because I'm Black, I always had to work harder and be harder. You know, your daddy always got you out of mess. Like, it was, to me, it was sort of cryptic. But the gist of what I got was the two of them were in business together, and something that the white boy did caused them to lose their business. And now, somehow or another, it ended up in Teddy's hands. And Morris Chestnut is relying on his wife to get him his company back. That's what I'm getting out of this whole situation, okay? If y'all got something different, put it in the chat. And I know that this might seem like a lot, because it is. Because the episode was a lot. Back down to the loft or the salon, we get the DNA test back, and we find out that they had a whole Maury Povich 99999% chance that you are the father. So she knows that Teddy is her daddy. And Auntie Peggy is looking like the cat who ate the canary. She looking a little nervous, a little bit like she know more than what she's saying. And I always felt like she knew more than what she's saying, okay? Also, when Angela was talking to Lance Gross, I forget his name on the show, child. She told him she need to get some work done on her building. Somebody that's not going to kill her, but she needs to find a contractor. And he was like, I can come and, give you a good little estimate. So he comes through to check out what's going on at the house. And he's showing her some good things here and there and some ups and downs and arounds to the situation. And they find a secret room. So they bust down the wall because it was just being covered by plywood, which begs the question, why you ain't noticed that before, that it was just a doorway covered with plywood. But she acted like she had never seen it before. And it never occurred to her that there was a whole room behind that plywood. And it looks like maybe that's where her mother used to actually live when she ran the salon. Maybe that was like her room where she slept that night or whatever, because it had a bed in there, like a little cot, and it had clothing. And I mean, it literally looked like somebody left yesterday. Like it was like a it wasn't left like somebody had packed up with the anticipation that they were going to leave and never come back, which is interesting. So we see the ladies, all the ladies are being gathered, and these are like the ladies, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say the pledges that are trying to get into this, the Grayites, the Graysonites, the Gracities, whatever, child. They're trying to get into this organization, and they're doing flower arrangements. And, you don't realize until the end what they're really doing, but they were having, I guess, a semi-meeting. They're having some sort of gala where they are going to be talking about women in business. And of course, their new president, aka the head of Forbes, aka the new CEO, is going to be honored. And so Angela comes up with the idea to say, hey, let's not just, let's expand this a little bit. Let's try to acknowledge, multiple people who are in businesses. Let's try to acknowledge some of the little people who are running some small businesses. And Leia actually takes that idea. She says she likes it. They come up with a whole name, Black Butterflies or something to that effect. And Angela is actually shocked that Leia likes her idea. And she almost sort of takes credit for it, but Angela sort of lets it go. Like, she doesn't insist, that was my idea. I'm going to let you have it though. Now, let me say this to y'all. This is a sidebar. As someone who is part of an organization that plans a ball every year, we plan a big ball every year. That is like our big activity is in my chapters in December. I know that is something that we plan months in advance. I mean, basically, the ball is in December. We start setting up committees in January for the next ball because it's a lot to it. If you want it to be successful, anybody who's planning a major event, y'all know what I'm talking about. So when they were talking about this Black Excellence Gala, I'm thinking that's going to be like their end of the summer activity. Like that's going to be their final activity. Oh, but no, we'll get back to that. So they're putting these flower arrangements together. And Lauren, is that the daughter's name, Lauren? Lauren comes through there, hungover with a bottle of water, hair all over her head, looking real crazy. And of course, the other ladies are snickering under their breath and giving her the side eye. And of course, Leia is absolutely mortified that her daughter would show up hungover to a Gracities event, honey. And she's trying to talk to her. She's like, girl, what is really going on with you? And she was like, Mom, she was like, well, you got to give, she was telling the other ladies, cut her some slack. Her best friend is in the hospital. Y'all got to cut her some slack or whatever. So she goes over there to talk to her. She was like, girl, you okay? Like, what is really going on with you? And she was like, she said, I'm just tired. I'm just stressed out. I'm just tired. And she says, well, listen, I know you've been going through a lot. I'm going to my photo shoot down for the Forbes. She said, I know it's not a big deal to you, but do you think you'd want to join me? And she said, oh, mama, that is a big deal. Like, I would definitely love to come and join you. Yes, that would be great. But then, of course, she got to get ready to go visit Earl down to the bathroom, and she gets up and runs away. Oh, no, let me rewind. She tells her, nothing you could ever do would embarrass me. I know you and Taylor were close, oh, no, see, I'm out of sequence. So much shit happened, y'all. Hold on, rewind. Hold on, let me rewind, because I think I'm out of sequence. When the daughter gets up to run away, she picks the daughter's phone up and she starts going through her phone. So first of all, let me go back to what I said last week. I don't know a teenager that don't have some sort of security password on their phone. Most adults don't have some sort of security password on their phone. The fact that you could pick that girl's phone up, you ain't have to hit no buttons. You ain't have to go into no apps. You could just straight up go into her pictures and see pictures of her and Taylor in compromising positions. Very provocative, very sexual. I mean, not pornography, but looking into each other's eyes, kissing on each other's neck. Like, girl, if this was a secret that she was really holding and was really afraid for anybody to find out, she wouldn't have it that obvious. Like, she wouldn't have it that blatant. Do you know how many apps exist where you could have private pictures and you can hide pictures from people and you can put extra security so people can't find that kind of stuff? For her to just have it sitting out in the open, girl, especially if you don't have no password on your phone, that was ridiculous. I mean, moving on. I'm gonna let that one go. So, of course, the minute she sees those pictures, she gets upset and she runs out the room. And she tells one of the other, pledgees that they need to take the flower arrangements to her mom. One of those flower arrangements to her mom. And the woman was like, I got to pick my son up from horseback riding practice. Like, I can't. And Angela says, girl, I'll do it for you, but you owe me one. I'll do you this favor, but you owe me one. So we know that Leia's mother ain't dead. We also know that she's in some sort of like convalescent situation. So we're going to get to that in a second. So on her way out with these flowers, she runs into Morris Chestnut. And once again, in my opinion, she was a little too chatty, telling him how much she wants to be in this entrepreneur program and how she's willing to do whatever it takes. And she's ready. He said, well, listen, I can't promise you nothing. I don't make all of the decisions, but I'm telling you, if you do get to the interview stage, the committee wants to see ingenuity. The committee wants to see that you know your brand and you understand your brand. And, there's certain things that they want to see from you. And she was like, oh, I can do that. I promise you, you're going to see that. I promise you. And she's not blatantly flirting with this man, but it's too much. It's still too much for me. So she goes to the home to drop off these flowers. And the people at the front desk let her just walk right on in and see this woman who they have to know that they don't know who Angela is. They have to know they don't know who Angela is. So she walks in, and as soon as her mother sees her, she said, oh, the little bitch came to visit. She thinks that that's her daughter. And then she proceeds to tell all the family's business, right? So I'm just going to cut to the chase. Here's what the woman said. The woman told her that she knew about Teddy's bastard daughter, told him that if he laid down with fleas, he was going to laid down with fleas, he was going to get up with flies, however the saying goes. She said that woman was supposed to be my friend. She worked for me for 2 summers, which go ahead and let you know what her mentality is, that you think that your maid, the woman that worked for you, was actually your friend and good enough of a friend that they weren't going to sleep with your husband. Then she said she ain't even care nothing about that child. She sold that child. She didn't leave the hospital with her daughter. And of course, Angela is listening to this whole thing and is like, she was a good woman. She was a good woman. She was like, she wasn't no good woman. She sold her child. So of course, Angela goes running off. She had been braiding the woman's hair. She left the woman's hair half braided. She done ran out. And on her way out the door, she said, come back here, Leah. You got to get me out of here. You and your father put me in here. Y'all got to get me out of here. So that lets you know that there's a story behind why the mama locked up in the damn hospital, child. So, of course, Angela went straight to Aunt Peggy and was like, is this true? about my mama? And that's how you knew that Aunt Peggy knew more than Aunt Peggy said that she knew all this time. Because, of course, her face immediately was like, oh, shit. And, you know, Angela gets mad and runs out. But then she comes back and she was like, listen, I was upset. But please tell me, what's all this? Because we see her calling the hospital now, trying to confirm the story about whether her mother actually left with a child or not. And she was able to confirm the story that some other woman took her out the hospital. So Aunt Peggy tells her the story about how her mama wasn't sure because, of course, by this time, Teddy had left her high and dry. And she was, you know, scared about trying to raise a baby on her own kind of situation. And so she did agree to sell the child for $50,000. But then she changed her mind and she never cashed the check. And she took you. I just don't even understand how that's even important to the storyline. Like, I feel like that was unnecessary drama. Y'all put it there for no damn reason. That's just how I feel about that. So then we are down to the Forbes shoot. Leia is there ready to get her Forbes cover on, honey, and her Black Excellence with her daughter with her, honey. And she's trying to talk to her daughter and say, listen, girl. She trying to tell her without telling her, I went through your phone and I saw what you had going on. And you can talk to me. You know, I love you. And she said, no, damn, I'm still out of order, y'all. She was trying to tell her daughter that Taylor is a bad influence on her and she don't need to be running behind Taylor. And the daughter was like, what are you talking about? Taylor, I love her. Didn't you say there was nothing that I could do that would embarrass you? That still might be out of order. But y'all, so much shit happened. It just happened. It happened. So, next thing you know, here come Papa Pope. Because that's what I'm going to call him, Papa Pope. A.K.A. Teddy. Teddy is down to the Forbes shoot. And that's when you should have known there was some shit in the sauce. Because he's going to tell her, well, I'm down here because, you know, they just want me to, you know, say some nice things about you. Give a little bit of background information on my retirement. But, girl, I am so proud of you. Like, look at you and your Black excellence, honey. Enjoy your first Forbes cover, honey. It's a beautiful experience. And guess what the makeup artist had on the table to do her hair with? Eve's crown. Eve's crown is all up and through. Everybody got Eve's crown. And I'm thinking to myself, if Eve's crown is so successful that everybody damn got Eve's crown, then this is what I don't understand. What I don't understand is why you don't have no money. Because everybody and their cousin got the Eve's crown in this show. So Leia decides she gonna go down and visit Angela down to the salon. This is when we had that whole scene, right? So, listen. This scene was crazy as hell. This was crazy as hell. I apologize, y'all. This is the scene where they have the whole showdown about Taylor. And so that's when she tells her mama, listen, because she says, well, Taylor was a party girl. Because they find out that Nikki has been going down to the hospital every day to visit Taylor. And she says, well, Taylor's a party girl. And this is what Leia is saying. Taylor's a party girl, and maybe this tragedy will, get her to break her hold on you. And she was like, what hold? What hold do you think she has on me? She's like, I love her. She said, you told me you would accept me no matter what. Well, this is me. And she says, well, I do accept you, but I can't support this. So she was like, what you mean you can't support this? So Angela tells her, listen, she said, girl, and Leia was like, listen, I ain't got time for this. I can't do this with you right now. She said, no, this is what you need to understand. From mother to mother, the next thing you say to her is going to be important. Like, damn all that we got going on. Your daughter needs you, and she needs to know that you care about her and that you love her. And this just ain't it. This ain't it. So, next thing you know, honey, we are at the Black Excellence Gala. Now, again, I have to say, when do we start planning this gala, and when is the gala taking place? Because ain't no way in hell they put all this together in a week or a 2-week window, in which it seems like, I guess, however long it take a DNA test to come back. But remember, we still within a 6-week window, because they only there for the summer. So, I don't know how long this took, but neither here nor there, honey. So then we have we had a cameo from my girl from the Tyler Perry from the Tyler Perry plays, and what's the one that Lance Gross is on, honey? The mama, to play the mama. She played one of the small business owners, and of course she was a little hood-ish. And they looked mortified, but of course Angela was like, this is what we here for, right? We're celebrating black diamonds, right? She's a black diamond. And of course it wasn't nothing Layla could do but just roll with it. So Lance is there with his boo thing, they on a date, they're dancing, drinking, having a good time. Everything is going lovely. Until it's time for Leia to get called up. Leia. Why I can't get this woman's name right? Morris Chestnut rolls up to her and lets her know that, he's impressed with what she did with the ball, and that he's definitely going to get her that interview, and she need to be ready to knock the committee's socks off. And she was like, oh yes, don't worry about it. I won't disappoint. So then we see, I said I was going to call her Leah, but I really think it's Leia. Leia get called up on the stage as, her daddy is supposed to be introducing her as the new CEO, his successor kind of thing. And he gets up there and he was like, listen, I don't have no problem introducing my daughter, but she's not going to be the new CEO, okay? The stories of my retirement are a little premature, okay? I am still running this company, okay? But you can come on up here and talk to the people, though, girl. You still my second in command, though, girl. So they are backstage arguing, and he said, listen, let me explain something to you. What you didn't do was read the fine print on all these so-called incriminating documents you think you have on me. If you take me down, you'll be taking your husband down, because his name is all up and through there, okay? Whatever I did, your husband was right behind me, okay? He did what I did. He did it twice. He did it 3 times, a lady, all right? So what you need to do is you need to figure all that out, okay? All that out. And then Morris Chestnut comes back there and is like, what the hell? You supposed to be getting me my company back. She said, well, listen, he blindsided me. I ain't see it coming. I didn't know. And just like I said last week, he told her, I told you I'm better at this than you are. So play your position and chill out. So when Teddy comes off stage, Angela act like she about to roll up on him, but of course she can't. She can't bring herself to say nothing to him. She can't bring herself to express the words that need to be expressed, right? And she ends up running off. Lance Gross tries to talk to her. She tells him to leave her the hell alone, and she ends up running away, and her daughter even runs up on her and is like, Mama, what is wrong with you? And she was like, I couldn't even say nothing to him. I froze up. I couldn't speak. I couldn't get it out, And the next day, I'm trying to get this shit in the right order, y'all. There was so much stuff. Later on that night, I'm going to say this was later on that night. We see Leia go and confront her daddy. And, she's yelling at him. She's knocking his chest. No, this was, nope. Let me rewind. A whole lot of other stuff happened at that damn ball. So the white boy that I told y'all about, he rolled up on Leia after this whole situation went down, and after Morris Chestnut was yelling at her about her not getting him his company back. And that there's a history there because they all grew up on the island together. They all knew each other. Leia ends up Lauren ends up walking in on her mama kissing the white boy. Well, really the white boy kissed her. Like, she ain't really mean to type situation, right? So then, as she's running off, the police come rolling in. They're like, yeah, Taylor woke up, and she said that she ain't fall off that boat. She said that your daughter pushed her off the boat. Now, all of a sudden, Lauren wants Nikki to corroborate, talking about something. You saw me. Oh, but last week, when Nikki tried to say that you was standing with Taylor on the boat, you was like, I wasn't up there. She drunk. She don't know what she talking about. Oh, now that Taylor done woke up, now all of a sudden, you know something. Now all of a sudden, she saw you, right? So, neither here nor there, honey. The police end up taking her away. Okay, the police end up taking her away, and they questioning for the attempted murder of Taylor, whatever her last name is. Okay, y'all see what I was saying about how it was way too much. Like for real, they could have stopped here, and what happened after that could have been a whole nother episode. But anyway, so we see Angie goes to Lance Groves and she apologizes to him and she says, listen, I got a lot going on. I just found out who my daddy was after all this time not having a daddy. She finds out that Lance Groves' daddy used to be security for Teddy Franklin, and he got shot in the line of duty. I'm sure there's a deeper story to that. We're gonna probably find out later on that Teddy had his daddy killed because his daddy knew too much. I don't know. And child, they end up having sex. I mean, it was real cute. He told her to come in the pool because they was in the pool, honey, with that nice 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack he had working. And he told her, listen, you need to just let it go. You need to just float and let it float on. And so he tells her, so anyway, they float in the water and they get to kissing, and I'm sure the assumption is that they had sex, right? We supposed to be left with the idea that they had sex. So we see where they finally end up scattering the ashes of her mama, and they are reciting the poem "A Phenomenal Woman" by Maya Angelou. And I'm thinking to myself, are we going to do this every week? Are we just going to have a moment where we throw in a poem by a black writer every week? Is that kind of what we're going to do here? Because, you know, last week they did "Oh Captain, My Captain." Like, is this what we're going to do? So, because earlier in the scene, I missed that part because it was too much. Earlier in the episode, Nikki and Aunt Peggy was getting very irritated with Angie because they were like, listen, we came here to scatter mama's ashes and you were worried about doing everything except for what we supposed to be here to do. And Peggy told her, listen, either you gonna scatter your mama's ashes or I'm gonna do it myself. So they finally scattered the mama's ashes like she asked them to do, like what they supposed to be there for to begin with. We also saw earlier in the episode, I forgot this part too, child, back at the Forbes shoot, Leia telling her daddy that she remembers riding to Boston with him and a little girl chasing behind him, calling him daddy, daddy, daddy. And of course, he tried to act like he didn't know what she was talking about. But in this last scene, when she confronts him about it, he tells her, he said, I tell you what, she said, don't worry, I got Nikki, Lauren, I got her the best attorney on the island, and we're going to get her out of this. And he said, I'll take care of that. Ain't nobody worried about that. He said, but let me tell you something. You were right. Your memory was correct. You did see me in Boston, you know, with a little girl. Okay. He said, but I chose you and your mama over her. So what you need to do is start playing chess, not checkers, and get them off this island before they start uncovering secrets that don't need to be told. Because, yeah, Angela, that's your sister. It's her. What you gonna do about it? And then that's kind of where the episode ends. Y'all, it was way, like, this really could have been 3 episodes. 2.5 at least. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.